Hey guys, it's John V3 IPS again. So I got a couple of requests just to take a look at what would be a loadout. So I'm just gonna go for a hike. It's not a Parks on the Air, it's not soda or anything like that. Just go for a hike, and I want to test out a couple of things. And one thing that I haven't used lately is my Pactana antenna that is set up as a long wire. So let me show you that first. I've got 25 feet of coax. I got this from Buddy Pole. As you can see, there's rubbered end protectors, there's Velcro for it, injection molded connections. Nothing's gonna fall apart. I've had this for years and years and years with no issues. I did add some chokes to it and put some PVC over it. I chose the white PVC only so it's easier to see. But anyways, this always goes to the radio end, and it's to reduce common mode currents, which sometimes may flare up. But normally that's not a mandatory that you need that to use that with different antennas. But the 9-to-1 antenna, because we're using the coax as part of the counterpoise, you need a minimum of 25 feet of coax. Having the common mode choke makes some sense. So the next thing I have here is I have 29 feet of wire, and I'll put onto a line wire, and I got a hook for it and everything like that. I also have 50 feet of paracord. I just bought a bunch of these. Even came with a little carabiner clip on it, nice and neat. So pretty lightweight. It's 2 millimeters, which is perfect. So perfect for backpacking. So I just picked up, I don't know, I think 10 of these, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna probably lose them at one point. But it's yellow, so I can see it, and people at the park or the operating site can see it. The next thing I have here is just a Pelican style box. I got this from Princess Auto, which is kind of like a Harbor Freight in the States. And to make it water resistant, as you will see, which is why I put it in this box. Got 1/4-inch connectors on it. I've got red to denote that it's the hot side, black for the ground side. I could put a 17-foot counterpoise on it. I'll probably add one of those and put another one in there. But normally, because I run 25 feet of coax, I don't have to worry about setting up the counterpoise. So as you can see, there's the antenna, right? The antenna balun, it's a 9-to-1. And it already had pre-drilled holes in it anyways for its design, so I just bolted it down into a box. It's not waterproof because I still have the connector here, but if I put some sealant around it, it'll work out to be okay. So that's the antenna. Tuner is required. You definitely need a tuner for it because it is 9-to-1. And what does that mean? Well, typical, the impedance of the long wire could vary anywhere from 400 ohms, 600 ohms, 800 ohms. The 9-to-1 balun will divide that by 9 and try to bring it down to 50 ohms. Anything under 150 ohms, 3-to-1, 200 ohms, can be matched by the antenna tuner on your radio. LDG, the T1 tuner by Elecraft, the matte tuner, has a wider range. It can do 1500 ohms down to 50 ohms, but the built-in tuner with your typical radios are going to be 3-to-1 if you're using those types of radios. The other thing I brought here is I may leave this in the car. It's a 4.5 hour battery. Again, I have it in a Pelican style box. There's the Bioenno battery in there too. I got some foam, and what's missing and should be in here is the just a 2-foot adapter in order to extend the battery length, depending on sometimes how we're doing the installation or the deployment. Sometimes I may have the 705 on my dash in the car and the battery on the floor. Well, I need an extension cable to bring that down. So what I was thinking of doing is just putting a post-it note in here, and in that post-it note, it'll define what should be in here and what's not in here if something is missing. It's nothing like going out to the field and realizing, hey, I don't have any rope, or I forgot my radio. Sometimes I forgot the antenna. Okay, so let's throw that all into this bag here. Okay, so let's take a look at the radio. Here I've got the 705, and So everybody knows what the 705 looks like. Yeah, I've had it from day one. I still have the plastic sheeting on it. We'll wait until that thing falls off. Why peel it off when I can keep it on there? So. Okay, and now in the internal compartment here, I've got 3 batteries here. These are the skinny ones. I also own several Icom handhelds, so not a problem swapping batteries around. This is the 272 battery. Definitely a couple hours of use out of it out in the field. I think, I'm trying to remember here, may even be as much as 3 hours. Again, depending on how often you're transmitting at the transmit power. So new addition here is the Icom. I keep forgetting the number on this one here. It's the 307. It's a 3300 milliamp hour battery. This one I believe is 1880. So almost twice the amount, and you can see here it's a thicker battery. The only thing here, I'll take the battery clip off it and put it in one of the pockets here. I'm probably going to put this in the radio when I get out. I always have one of these. It's a BNC to adapter for any type of antennas. You ever forget your antenna on a business trip? Well, you go to the dollar store, you pick up some speaker wire, and you make a loop, a dipole, whatever. I can stick this onto the back. I have it in this little organizer thing I got that's used for camping, and it's got all my cables, adapters, all that stuff in here. I even got the ham radio workbench adapter. This was the early one they released, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, so it's nice and small. That fits perfectly in the little pocket here, so sometimes you want to run a couple accessories or an external memory keyer, so that all goes in there. And of course I got all my adapters. This, I picked up more of these the other day, Amazon, pretty inexpensive, I think. Haven't tried it out. We'll try it out today. The advantage of this here, it's got the an angle adapter for it, so I could put this on the back of the Icom 705. I also use this with an external amplifier. I'll show that in another video. It's the RM Italy HLA 150 Plus. It's a 5 to 10 watt input radio, and it puts out 150 watts depending on how much power you put in. It's got bandpass filters. The audio's on it's really good. Very happy with that purchase. We'll have that for another video. My line winder from Radio Shack. If you see it at the Hamfest, grab these. You might find some on eBay. It just allows wire to be rolled inside. I use this as a counterpoise sometimes for SWL listening. So last night I was tuning around to see what kind of comms I could pick up. I got the speaker mic in a little pouch, obviously a first aid kit, and then all my power cables, and then a Manfrotto tripod. So funny enough, we're starting to raid our camera bags in order to find accessories and stuff to use for ham radio. It's all good, right? Okay, so that's all in there. I even have an emergency keyer switch, so if I get stuck and I forget my key, I got a little PSD switch. I can do 5 words a minute. I can kind of tap it out using the switch here, but it's also useful for tuning. So if I got a complex tuning antenna or a problem, and I'm gonna do multiple tuning, and I didn't bring my key, I can use this as a key. I could also use the memory on one of my memories on the 705. Here's a tip: I've got V's in it. V space, V space, V, V, V space. So it provides a continuous transmit tone, so I can use that for tuning up the antenna for the external tuner. Because the external tuner that typically I use all the time here is the Elcraft T1. I've had this for a gazillion years. I think the day it came out, probably 15 years ago. I've got a little hanger here made out of 3D. I did do a mod. I did put a brass binding post nut on this just to make it easier to, as opposed to the regular nut, just easier to connect the wire and stuff like that, and a little jumper cable. Again, all in a little box and marked out. So that's the loadout for today. That's what I'm going to end up using. I'll toss it in a tree. I do have a water bottle in the car with a carabiner clip on it with a durable elastic that goes around it that I picked up at the store, so I could throw that up in the tree and get my wire. And because I'm only running 29 feet of wire, which is a great length for the 901 Ballon, is the fact that it's easy to get into a tree. I don't need a 66-foot wire that's going to be a lot more problematic, and typically I would, you know, run it probably usually as like a sloper. Kind of works out pretty good because I'll slope it from the picnic table up into the tree. We'll see how it goes. I've not been on this trail before. I did some reconnaissance, looking around at it. There are some rest areas that look like they have some benches and stuff like that. So I think as far as operating, I could be okay. If not, it's just a matter of putting a tarp on the floor, on the grass, and operating from there. So a couple options. So there you go. There's a load out there for the Icom 705. Similar kind of scenario with the 817. I have a different case for that. Icom 703, again, that has its own backpack, has a built-in tuner, so there's bits and pieces I don't need in it, but the 703 does require an external battery pack, so you got to be constant of that. So every time I'm going out to do a loadout, it's always the same thing. What radio am I bringing? What antenna do I want to deploy? What length of coax am I going to bring? How do I want to do my power? Is there an antenna tuner that's going to be involved? And am I going to be operating any CW? Make sure I bring the hand key. The key should always be in here, and it was in there, but I took it out the other day to show somebody they were looking at possibly getting the same key because of the small size and stuff like that. So there you go. Pretty straightforward, not complicated to go to the park. You could substitute any radio. However, today we were using the Icom. A couple other things I just wanted to show you. So just playing around, trying to figure out how do I make things better. So I came across this mossy oak pouch at